Oh, goodness gracious. I kind of like brushed it off and was like, yeah, I know, it'll be fine. It was not fine. Welcome back to the channel. We have a ton to do this week. Last week we went shopping for fabric for the chairs, trying to figure out what we wanted to do, and since then it has rained almost every day. And here in the south, with rain comes extreme humidity. So even when it's not actually raining, it is so wet outside. So today's the first day where we're not supposed to have any rain, and you can see how much moisture is outside. So I'm kind of been scared about taking this furniture outside to try to start painting it, because I don't know if the paint's going to take, I don't know if it's going to cure, and I'm not really the best at painting furniture anyway. I kind of just slap it on there, so I've been a little worried about it, but I think it's time that we actually get a head start, at least try, because I just don't see it getting any less humid outside. So we're gonna start prepping the dining chairs this week, mostly because the dining table scares the bejeebies out of me. I'm so scared to start this dining table. So we're gonna start easy. We're gonna work on the dining chairs. I got these chairs over a year ago. They actually came from a thrifty friend of mine. She is far more thrifty than me. Like, she is the queen of Facebook Marketplace. And last year when I did the organizing of this space and kind of started to make a plan for the design, she saw kind of what I was going for and was like, I have a set of dining chairs that are very similar to that in my storage unit. Would you want them? And I was like, yeah. So she very generously gave them to me. And how did I repay her? By having them sit in my little side room for over a year now. But we're gonna change that. We are finally going to give these chairs the makeover that they deserve. So these chairs are actually in really great condition. Normally, when you find cane chairs, the cane is always damaged, or it is super expensive. So to kind of come across affordable cane back chairs that do not have extreme damage is such a blessing. There's only one of these chairs that actually has any damage to the cane, and it's pretty minimal considering. So we're gonna have to find a way to kind of patch that to keep it from getting worse and kind of unraveling more. But the rest of the chairs are in perfect condition, which actually works perfectly for me because I don't really need the sixth chair since I have a dining bench. So I'm only planning on having 5 chairs around the table majority of the time anyway. So the 6th chair, as long as we can get it kind of functional and sitting in a corner to pull up when we need an extra chair, that will be perfect. So since I don't know if I want to get into the actual painting today, but I definitely want to make some progress, I think I'm going to go ahead and prep these chairs by cleaning them up, taking the seats off, and seeing what we can do about that damaged place on the one chair. Okay, so my plan to fix this hole in this chair is actually to use hot glue. And this was not my original plan. My original plan was to use super glue, but we're not going to do that, and I'm going to tell you why. When I thought about using it, I had visions of getting my hands stuck to this chair and then pulling it apart and making it a million times worse, and so we're not doing that. And then I got thinking that since it's already painted and we're going to be painting it again, whatever we use I can easily paint over. It doesn't have to be, you know, very seamless to begin with. So then I thought about hot glue, and I feel like if we use it very sparingly, that we can stop it from unraveling more and potentially even create cane-like lines to kind of fill in the gaps that then we can paint. It's not going to be perfect. I don't even know if it's going to work, but I think it may be our best bet. Worst case scenario, we don't fix this hole, we put a blanket over it and we call it a day. So this is just going to be our best shot, and then we will move on. I'm shocked at how well this worked. It's not perfect, but it worked so much better than I thought it would. Like, you can still see the general area where it is, and then this little area here, but I'm gonna try to show you like a really good before and after. In person, this is so much better than like the gaping hole that was there before. And when you touch it, it feels a lot stronger, which is the ultimate goal, that it's not going to unweave more. So I'm very excited to see what this does once I paint it, because it's either going to look a heck of a lot better or it's going to start looking a lot worse. But either way, we're going to put a blanket on it to style it anyway, but at least now I know it's not going to just like keep spreading and getting worse. So I call that a win, and I'm a little shocked that it came from hot glue, because I feel like that is a DIY no-no. But it worked. I am still waiting on it to kind of dry a little bit outside from all the rain that we've had. It's definitely not raining and the ground is drying, but it's just so humid in the air. So I'm hoping by a little later today we might be able to take these guys outside and start painting the first layer. I'm gonna go ahead and start taking the seats off and prepping the seats with the new foam and getting it all ready for the new fabric. So I got all of the seats off, and so I think I'm going to take the chairs outside, and so I'm going to go upstairs and change really quick. It is actually starting to dry up a little bit outside. At least the windows aren't, you know, covered in humidity anymore. So fingers crossed that we can actually get a base coat of paint on these chairs today, because that would be huge. So I'm gonna go change, and then we're gonna take these guys outside. I'm gonna give them a little scuff sand, a little clean, and we will get started painting. I was able to get 2 coats of this nutmeg color onto the cane yesterday. It took about 1 full can in order to do the front and back of all 6 chairs. And in this light, it looks a little bit washed out, but I'm shocked at how much this already looks like a natural cane. Because to be honest with you, I had a whole game plan of paints and stains and like alcohol dyes and highlights and lowlights in order to try to make this feel like cane, and it already does. So I think I'm gonna go a little bit more simple so that way I don't cake on a bunch of layers, and I'm gonna just use a gel stain and kind of to push it into some of the nooks and crannies and around the edges, just to like give it a little depth, because from a distance it looks like cane. Like the backs look like cane. Up close it looks a little flat like paint, and I think some gel stain will like make it perfect. So I'm thrilled with that. Like, I am 2 for 2 in weird ideas this project, and they are working so much better than I thought. So that is shocking. So we're gonna do some gel stain, but I need to pull the chairs back outside because yesterday when I finished, you know, with the coats of paint, we were not supposed to get any more rain at all. So I put them up under the carport. I was like, they'll be okay. Well, I'm laying in bed last night, and all of a sudden we get the strongest thunderstorm I've heard in a long time, and rain is literally whipping at our window sideways, and I was like, the chairs. So I run downstairs, and luckily I did. I don't know how long they were out there like that, but I start pulling the chairs in. They are soaked. I mean, just water dripping off of them. And the cane, this is the really scary part, the cane had started to, not bad, but had started to kind of warp a little bit, and I was terrified that I had ruined the chairs by leaving them out there for just those few hours. Luckily, when I came downstairs this morning, the cane has straightened back out and it looks totally fine. So yeah, there's my crazy adventure for the night. But we need to get these chairs back outside. And yes, I'm still in the same paint clothes because I don't want to get paint on any more of my other clothes. So call it gross if you will, but I don't want to ruin my other clothes. So, but yeah, we're going to get these outside and we're going to start trying to see if we can get some beautiful depth with the gel stain. Okay, I had to move back inside because it is so humid outside. You can kind of see it in this window, but it is so humid outside that when I would go to dab off the extra, it was sticky already. So that's obviously not ideal, and I don't want to mess up these chairs. Luckily, worst case scenario, I still have a can of the base, and we can always go spray it on top. I would prefer to do less layers, but I'm hoping that bringing it inside, I'm going to let them sit and cool for, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes or so, and just get unsticky again, and then keep on working on the gel stain. Now, in camera, this is terrible. In person, it has so much more depth to it, and I think once the entire thing is done, it'll look really good. And I also think it'll look a lot better, obviously, once it's trimmed out and clean with the black. But I can see all this splotchiness in the camera, and in person it just does not come off that way. I'll try to get a good view of what it looks like to me in person, but yeah, I definitely think that it adds some depth to it, even if you can't see it now. So like I said, I'm going to take, maybe a half hour, just let the chairs reacclimate to non-humid conditions, and I'm probably going to wind up having to paint in here. I pulled out a tarp, and I'm over here in this corner because this is where I get the most light, and I need to be able to see in daylight, like what these colors look like. So I'm probably going to be here one at a time, working on the gel stain, and then adding the paint around the chair and just doing it on this tarp inside because it's just too humid to paint outside right now. Okay, that is one chair done, and I know it looks really splotchy. I think your mind is playing tricks on you with this because I can see the splotches too, and I think that the fact that it's unfinished here, it looks splotchy. But if you just look at just the cane and then picture a really clean outline, I think it looks like really worn, natural cane. There's so much like variation, and I'm thrilled with it. I think it looks legit. And like I said, once this is black, I think it's just going to be such a natural look. But now I've got 5 more all the way over there. I got 5 more chairs to do. Alright, this is now my 4th chair out of the 6, and I feel like I've kind of learned a technique in order to make it go faster and also look less splotchy. So the first one I did, I do feel like it looks a little splotchy. I think I can live with it, but if I can't, I still have a can of paint and I can always go back and start with the tan again. But I think it's going to be okay. I think once we paint the frame, it won't look quite as bad, but the technique I've kind of found is, instead of to kind of just like throw it on there, when I stopped and thought about it, when you get that natural coloration decaning, it's usually the edges that are darker where it has collected dirt and dust, and also where the back has faded. So it's kind of like highlights and lowlights. So I've been concentrating on putting most of the gel stain around this edge here, and then slowly working my way in and just feathering it out. So I also learned that when I get to the middle, instead of to dab like what I was doing before because I wanted to get it in there, that is hard to keep consistent. If I just brush it on in every direction so that the cane can grab it from the sides and then brush it off the top, it works perfectly. It's faster and it's more consistent. So that has been the technique I've been using for the last couple of chairs, and I feel like it does make just the smallest bit of difference. And so I'm like really throwing this on here on this edge, and I'm like letting it sit for a good minute, and then I go through and I clean it up and wipe it off, so that way it like really gets that coloration. One thing to keep in mind though is that gel stain can remove the paint. I don't know what it is in it, but I did have a couple of places on some of the other chairs where it kind of took it back to the white, so I'm having to be careful not to put too many layers on. But that's the technique that I have found. It is the quickest and the most effective to get the look that I'm wanting, so I'm going to keep it on and finish up these chairs. Alright, I just finished the gel stain on the 6th chair. I actually went back and looked at some of the ones that are drying, and it's looking so good. What did look splotchy is now looking like worn antique cane. My biggest issue right now is they feel so tacky. And I don't know if that is the gel stain. I don't know if it's the gel stain on top of paint. I don't know if the paint didn't cure all the way because of the little rain mishap last night, or if they were almost cured and then I took them out this morning and it was so humid outside that I had to bring them back in. I don't know, but we're gonna have to wait for them to dry and like fully dry, because I need to be able to put the top coat on top so that way that doesn't wear off of that cane, because these are going to get used. And so while I don't mind the frames kind of getting beat up and scuffed up, and they're going to get used and worn, I just know that the paint is going to wear off of this cane so much more quickly. So I got this clear matte top coat, and this actually, it says that it's non-yellowing, but I mean the cane is, it's pretty warm anyway. But it says it seals, protects, and revitalizes. This is a matte, so it should be really great coverage. It shouldn't affect the look of it too much, but I just want to make sure that we can actually protect it and seal it in there, because the worst nightmare would be not only that it starts coming off, but that if someone is sitting on it, I do not want it coming off on their clothes. So I just want to make sure that this cures completely. Top coat on the cane, and this is a spray can, so we're gonna have to wait to do the black frame, which is the part I'm like itching to paint this thing black now so that I can see it. Yeah, so I'm just gonna have to be patient. I'm gonna have to sit and wait for this to dry to an acceptable amount to put the top coat on, let the top coat dry, and then start painting the black. And yeah, it's just, it never goes as quickly as you think it will. But I'm not going to complain because, like I said, I'm having too much luck with these random untested techniques to repair the cane and then make the cane look natural again. So I'm just going to take my luck and I'm going to hush and I'm going to let it dry. So while we're waiting on the cane to dry, I figured, why waste time? Let's go ahead and start prepping the seat cushions. So I need to take off this fabric and foam because we're not going to be reusing the foam either. I'll show you why in a minute. But we need to go ahead, take all the staples out because I want these boards. Now I'm going to use these boards as a template for cutting out the new foam, and then also as the backer because they already have the right screw holes and everything in it. So we definitely need to get this cleaned up. But let me show you why we're not going to use this foam. I swear to you, I just tried every single cushion and now it's not doing it. But when they were on the old chairs, when you would sit on it, it sounded like a whoopee cushion. And now I just tried it on every single one, and of course it's not doing it. But we're replacing the foam anyway. So I wish I could have showed you, but like it was like legit whoopee cushion sound. And now I cannot get it to do it. I figure, hey baby, can you sit? Okay, I went ahead and changed into some comfy clothes because I just don't think I'm going to get around to painting the frames today. I don't want to rush it and then the cane not cure properly, and then the top coat not cure properly, and so I figure what I'll do today is just prep the seats, put the top coat on. I'm still waiting for it to dry. It's getting there, but I am still waiting for it to dry. I got all the staples out of the seats with only one accident where I kind of like stabbed myself on a staple. So there's that. But all the seats are prepped and ready. We're waiting on the cane to dry, and I figure what we'll do is we'll get the new foam ready to go. So I actually ordered some new foam, and I've not looked at it yet, to be honest with you. And I don't really know how easy it will be to cut either. I'm hoping this is enough. I ordered like 12 feet of foam, so we're gonna find out. Oh, I think it's like inflating. Oh, goodness gracious. I may have gotten foam that is not as thick as what I thought it was. Because, I mean, really I would want like that thickness, not that thickness. Like, that's not very thick at all. I mean, that's not terrible. Maybe I'll just make sure to absolutely get some of the, I think it's called batting. I might get some of that. I wasn't going to, but maybe I'll get some of that, and I think that should be plenty. I mean, it's a dining chair. It's not a lounge chair or anything. We're gonna try to make that work. And then the next question is, how do we cut it? My gut tells me to use the boards as like a template. I went this way. That was actually less painless than I thought it would be. But here's the part I'm worried about, is actually cutting it. I did remember though that a lot of people will use like the turkey cutters in order to cut it. I don't have one of those, but I asked Josh about it and he suggested a bread knife, which we don't use often anyway. So we're gonna give that a go. And I'm just really, you guys, this is working way easier than it should. Like, is it the prettiest cut? No, does it need to be? No! Why is this working so good? Yo, I've had a harder time cutting Christmas wrapping paper. That is crazy. Oh my gosh. I don't think you understand how much I had been thinking of, sorry. I don't think you understand how much I have been thinking about this, like, the entire time that we were doing the dining room, like, before we did the dining room. When I ordered this foam, like, weeks and weeks ago, I was like, how am I gonna cut this? And now it's, like, beyond easy. Yo, that took me, like, 3 minutes. And I think it's definitely thickening up, so that's good. This with a little bit of batten on top, and I'll be happy to live with. Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness. Well, I feel a lot better about this. This has to be a record of the most things. Oh gosh, I do not want to say this because it's going to be, this just feels like bad luck. But this has to be a record of like the most times that I have tried something off the wall and it works far better than I ever thought. That's like 3 in a row now. knock on wood, like, holy cow! Literally cannot believe that. Like, I cannot believe that. That just took me under 15 minutes to cut all 6. Now, if you need this for like a pretty project, I don't know when you would need foam to be like perfectly cut. But the edges are pretty rough. But once you have the batting and all of that and the fabric over top, like, this is perfect. I'm stunned that was that easy. Like, this has been an interesting project, I'll tell you what. Also, the foam, it has expanded some more. It's not quite as thin as it was. It's probably a 1 inch, and ideally I probably should have got a 2 inch. And I almost did, but I decided against it, and I was like, a 2 inch would be huge. And now I'm thinking, you know, by the time you sit on it though, so if you're doing this, I would suggest splurging for the 2 inch, even though the 1 inch is cheaper. But I don't think it's going to be terrible. I think once we get the other part on there, I just tested it out on the bench, and like, it's still a cushion, and it's a dining room. It's not a lounge room. So I think it will be plenty, and I am beyond shocked at that. Yeah, who knew? A regular old bread knife. Also, something I learned, because I had a moment where it got difficult and I couldn't figure out why, because it had been so easy. And I realized I was trying to go faster and cut through it faster because I thought it was easy. No. The key to this is slow. Like, slow movements, just absolutely just cut it wide open. It's incredible. So, don't make my mistake. Make sure to go slow, and it will be so much easier for you. But now I have all of the cushions cut. Unfortunately, I don't have the batting, and I don't have the fabric yet. Tomorrow, I'm going to go to the store, and I'm going to get the fabric. You guys really helped me out, and everyone kind of agreed it needs to be one of those woven fabrics. So we'll put the seats together tomorrow. Tonight, I think that the chairs, the cane has just about dried to where I would feel comfortable putting the top coat on. So I think we're gonna go put the top coat on the chairs and let it sit overnight really, really good, sit inside and cure really well. And then we will wake up bright and early in the morning and get started on painting the frames black. Okay, it has been days of straight painting those chairs. It took me so much longer than I thought it would. My friend Abby warned me that dining chairs and tables are a lot of work, and I kind of like brushed it off and was like, yeah, I know, it'll be fine. It was not fine. It was like 3 straight days of just painting the black. That doesn't even count the sanding that I did, the work on the cane. Like, it doesn't even count that. That was just straight painting the black. And I honestly, I don't even think I filmed that much of it for you because I was over it so fast. I don't know which one was worse, those chairs or the stairs. No, the stairs were definitely worse. But the chairs were more monotonous because it was like, didn't I already get this area? And it's because it's 6 exact copies of each other. And so you felt like you were just doing the same thing over and over again, not getting anywhere until all of a sudden you're almost done. But they look awesome, and so I'm gonna quit complaining, but whew, glad those are done. And now we get to do the seats. So I've already cut out the cushions. You saw me cut the cushions. I realized after I had finished that I was getting these rectangles after each cut. And I was just looking at the size of them, and I realized that 2 rectangles pretty much makes up the seat. And I had just enough, you guys. The perfect amount to do a double layer on the bottom. So it won't be pretty, but if I do it like this, then I'm going to get that 2 inches of foam when I only paid for 1 inch. So I'm thrilled with that. It worked out perfectly. And so I don't know what it is, even though the painting was very tedious and took far longer than I thought. This entire project has been going so much smoother than I thought. So like, I can't even complain. Like, I guess the time it takes to paint is just like, you know, what I owe the fact that it's just going so well. So anyway, we need to get these cushions together because I want to call this project done. Now, as far as the fabric that I decided on, I went back, and sure enough, I am so glad I waited, you guys. This is a hack, and I don't even think it's that secret of a hack, but just in case you don't know this, Hobby Lobby discontinued their 40% off coupon a couple years ago, and instead they do a store discount system where every week half the store is on sale 40% off. Half the store. Now, it's not necessarily like this half. It's like they will pick departments, but in general, half is on sale. So if something is not on sale and you want it on sale, wait 1 week, go back, and there's a very good chance it will be part of the collections that are 40% off that week. And that's exactly what happened with me. The fabric was 40% off. I went back to look. We all decided as a group to say no to the leather. I totally agree with that. It just was not the right vibe. And so we wanted more of a linen-y look. So we were in between the warmer one that was on top and, I mean, maybe more of the gray one. The white one would look nice, but it was just like, I don't want that stark white. When I went back to look at it, I just could not wrap my head around it. I didn't love the warm tone of the top one. It just wasn't the right tone. And then the more I looked at the gray one, I was like, it's just not the right one. And so I went rogue. And I don't know why I didn't even bother looking at the rest of the fabric before. Like, I literally went and looked at the nice fabric at the back. I looked at the velvet. And I may have looked at like a little bit of their burlap and canvas. It never even occurred to me to look in all of the other fabric because I just assumed that it was like their cheaper, like cotton printed fabric, and I just knew that's not what I wanted. Well, I was wrong, because that is exactly where the cotton, linen, beautiful fabrics were for half the price per yard of that big rack that I was looking at. So I wound up with this one, and it's hard to tell on camera, but it is a beautiful 100% cotton linen look. It has these beautiful specks in it, and I got it home, and it matches my curtains exactly, which I wasn't trying to match it, but I was very worried that the tones would clash, and it is perfect. So I love the speckle to it, and I just think it's going to be absolutely perfect with these chairs. And I got the batting, so that way we can add a little extra, you know, fluff to it. Plus, I wanted to make sure, especially since I'm kind of doing the hack with the foam. I wanted the batting so that way it definitely created like a smoother surface before the fabric, just in case there was any lumps or bumps. I'm a little nervous to start cutting fabric, to be honest with you, because I don't want to like cut it too short and then have totally ruined it. Maybe we'll start with the batting. Even though I stared at these chairs for over a year as they sat and collected dust, it is still hard for me to believe that these are the same chairs. I'm honestly shocked how well the cane treatment worked, and I'm shocked that we were even able to patch that hole in the one damaged chair with hot glue. I mean, are you kidding? I love how these turned out, even though they took me literally like a week longer than I thought that they would. And I kind of never want to paint another chair again, but that's okay because now they're all finished and I love them. And I know you may hate me for this, but I'm not going to show you how they look with the whole dining room just yet. I'm going to make you wait for the final dining room reveal. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that it really inspired you, because I'm telling you what, I did not know that you could do this with cane. I did not know you could bring it back to life. And now I'm going to be thinking differently when I see pieces that are damaged in antique stores, because I always just left damaged cane alone because there was really nothing you could do without replacing it. But now that I know that I can fix it if it's been painted, and I can possibly fix small holes with hot glue, like, that changes the game. So happy with how this turned out. I hope you're excited too. I hope that you can see the vision coming together. And in the next video, we're finally tackling the dining table, which I am absolutely terrified to do. But we're gonna tackle it and pull this dining room together. So I'm so excited to continue to share this series with you. Thank you for being patient, even though I was a week late on this video, and I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope it was worth the wait, and I will see you so soon in the next one. Bye.